Yes, sir. We are in live now, sir.
Right.
So, very good afternoon to all the participants, and we welcome you all for day 3, session 2 on text analytics using machine learning techniques, which is going to be handled by Dr. E. Shivashankar, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, NIT, Trichy. And sir has completed his BE Computer Science Engineering in Madurai Kamaraj University and MTech in Computer Science and IT in Manonmaniam Sundaram University and PhD in Computer Science and Engineering in Manonmaniam Sundaram University as well. And sir has more than 10 years of teaching experience at MEPCO Engineering College Shivagasi, and now he is currently working as assistant professor in NIT Trichy. And sir has published more than 20 papers in international journals in highly impact factor and 16 papers in international conference. Thank you, sir. Thank you for spending your time today, and I hand over the session to you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for the nice introduction. Thank you, madam. Thank you for the nice introduction. So we'll start the presentation, right?
Sure, sir. I will start the presentation. Yes, sir.
Right. So in this session, we are going to study about how to work with text analytics using machine learning techniques. So you all know about machine learning techniques, right? So in the machine learning techniques, we have a lot of techniques like classification, clustering, prediction, time series analysis, association rule mining, sequential rule mining, and so on. So we will apply some of the techniques in text data to discover meaningful knowledge or patterns from data, right? So as the name suggests, text analytics is the process of extracting meaningful information from text data. So we are going to discover some meaningful information and hidden insight from text data. So text analytics is also known as text mining. It is the process of analyzing a chunk of unstructured or semi-structured data to find out previously undiscovered information. So you are expected to undiscover some information and gain some insight into the text for informed decision making in an organization, right? So text analytics is not like similar to your normal data analytics, whereas here the domain or the repository is going to be text, where we are going to analyze a piece of text or a collection of semi-structured or unstructured text data to discover insight in the data for decision making in an organization, right? So let me explain you the major categories in text analytics. So the major categories will be information extraction, text classification, text summarization, right? Developing a chatbot. There are some important categories of text analytics. So the first category of application or functionality of text mining is going to be information extraction. Here we are going to reconstruct a set of unstructured data, text data or semi-structured data into a structured database, right? So in the case of information extraction, we are going to reconstruct a semi-structured data, textual document or unstructured document into a structured document. So it involves processing. It involves the process of evaluation of unstructured data. So we will do some normal processing techniques like identifying the entities, key phrases. We do part of speech tagging and so on. And we use pattern matching concepts to find the predefined sequence, anything within the data. So it is used to identify the relationship between entities and attributes. So information extraction technique is used to identify the relationship between the entities and attributes. So the next technique that we use is going to be categorization. It's like a classification in supervised learning. So what we do in classification, you build a model. So using a training data set, you construct a model for both positive and negative class or n number of classes. So you'll be having a test data. Based on the test data, you will construct a model. So once a model is being constructed, given an unseen data, it should be able to categorize into some classes. So similarly, in this case, text categorization means it is going to assign one or more categories to one unstructured document. So we'll see an example for text categorization. We'll see how to classify email as a spam or a ham using some text classification problem. So it also has some pre-processing activities, dimensionality reduction techniques for reducing the number of features, and then finally we use some classification algorithms which may be Bayes classifiers like Bayesian classifier, decision trees, or some ensemble techniques. So categorization is similar to classification. I am going to assign a text document into one or more categories. It's known as categorization, right? So the next analytics task that can be performed in text is going to be text clustering. So clustering is an unsupervised learning technique where we are going to group similar objects together. So it generates a multiple group of documents known as clusters. So the contents of your document in a specific cluster are very similar than that of documents in different clusters. So we have a lot of algorithms for clustering. K-means clustering algorithm, K-medoids clustering algorithm techniques, density-based clustering techniques, grid-based clustering techniques. So basically, clustering is an unsupervised learning technique where we are going to group similar objects together. And in this case, we are going to group similar text documents together. So documents in the same cluster, they are going to have similar content. So we have many algorithms to do clustering, like K-means algorithm, K-medoids, DB-scan, grid-based techniques, and so on. And the next data analytics technique is like data visualization. So data visualization, it uses some visual cues such as text flags to indicate individual documents or document categories, and colors to indicate the density of category like entity or phrase, right? It simplifies and enhances the discovery of useful information with visual cues. So we'll be able to better visualize a document using text visualization techniques. And last technique that we do is text summarization. So summarization means it's going to be it automatically generates a summary or compressed version of the text with information that will be the highest importance or relevance to the end user. So again, we'll see some examples for text summarization. We have abstractive text summarization techniques and extractive text summarization techniques, right? So let me make you go through some simple classification. So we'll study methods like text classification, information extraction in today's class. So this problem is about working with simple text classification using dictionary-based approach. So text classification can be used for sentiment analysis. So what do you mean by sentiment analysis is that you can analyze a piece of text to determine the attitude of a person towards a particular product or a service, right? So whenever you buy some books or buy some articles in the websites, in the e-commerce websites, you do give some feedback, review feedback. It can be a numerical rating, and similarly, it can also be a textual rating. So we can analyze the piece of text given by a reviewer to identify the user's polarity towards a particular product or a service as a positive, negative, or neutral. It's known as text classification or sentiment analysis, whether it's going to be a positive sentiment or it's going to be a negative sentiment or it's going to be a neutral sentiment. So let me show you how text classification using a dictionary-based approach works. So for example, there is a review for a particular phone. Reviewer one has given that the phone design is the best I have seen so far. So it's going to be a positive opinion. So the label is going to be 1. So we'll see how to classify it as a positive or negative or a neutral using a dictionary-based approach. So the first step is like you are going to tokenize the words. So the review is being tokenized into simple words. So the determines a determinant, phone is a noun, design is a noun, is a verb, the is a determinant, best is an adjective. So what we do is that initially we tokenize each and every word in a sentence. Then we do something called data pre-processing, where we'll remove the stop words. Stop words are going to be the frequently occurring words in the particular review, which doesn't hold meaning. And we do POS tagging. So in the case of POS tagging, we'll be identifying the noun, verb, adjective that is present in the particular sentence. So phone is a noun, design is a noun, best is going to be an adjective, and verb is again a, scene is again a verb. So based on the words and tag in each review, you can also do lemmatization. So lemmatization, and then we'll be identifying the synset score for each and every word, right? So phone, using the dictionary synset score, this number is uniquely used to identify a particular word phone in a dictionary, and the positive score is going to be 0, and negative score associated with the phone is going to be 0. And design also doesn't have any bias, right? The positive score associated with design is going to be 0, and the negative score associated with the design is going to be again 0. And best, so best you have some positive score. So this value, this is going to be the ID of the word 00227507, which is used to uniquely identify a particular word. Here the positive score is going to be 0.75, whereas the negative score is going to be 0. So best is going to indicate a positive keyword, and the scene verb, again it doesn't have any positive score or negative score associated with it. How will you calculate the sentiment score? So sentiment score is going to be the synset positive score minus synset negative score overall. So the overall positive score is going to be 0.75, and you don't have any negative score, right? So it's going to be 0.75 minus 0, which is going to be 0.75. If the sentiment score is going to be greater than 0, then it returns 1 as a positive, else it returns 0. So in this case, the synset score is going to be greater than 0. So we say that the review is going to be positive, right? So these are the different, this is a very basic text analysis for text classification using dictionary based approach. Here initially given a sentence, you are going to split it into words. You are going to look for each and every word in a dictionary. Synset score, you are going to, synset score contains unique identifier for each and every word, its positive score value and negative score value. So what you do is that initially you break the sentence into tokens or words, and for the words you do some data pre-processing. We do POS tagging. Part of speech tagging is used to extract the noun, verb, adverb, adjective. So this keywords are used to they contain more information compared to the stop words in a particular sentence. So once you do POS tagging, you will be able to identify the noun, verb, adverb, adjective in a piece of text. Then you do lemmatization, you identify the root word, and then you will be using a synset dictionary to identify the positive score and negative score associated with a particular sentence, particular keyword, and the overall sentiment score is calculated as sentiment score plus synset positive score minus synset negative score. And if it is going to be greater than 0, we say that it is going to be positive. If the overall sentiment score is going to be greater than 0, it implies that it's going to be a positive review, else it's going to be a negative review, right? So we can do some text classification using a dictionary based approach. So we can also go for machine learning techniques for text classification or sentiment analysis. So you all know that classification is a supervised learning technique, since a labeled data set containing a text document and a label is used for training a classifier. So we'll have some reviews. We have the labels like whether it's going to be a positive review or negative review. Once you train it with a classifier, given some unknown review, it should be able to give the class label of the particular review. So in text classification, for the data set preparation involves loading the data set and performing some basic pre-processing operations like stop words removing, doing some POS tagging, part of speech tagging, performing lemmatization, and so on. So the data set is split into training and validation data sets in the case of data pre-processing, and you have different steps for pre-processing, right? So in the case of feature engineering, we do have some different types for feature engineering. So feature engineering, what we do is that we are going to have word count as features, count vector as features, where what we do is that we represent each and every text document is represented by means of a matrix, right, where the rows represents the document and column represents the keywords in the particular matrix. Rows represents a unique document, and the columns, they represent the keywords in the matrix, and the occurrence, the total count of occurrence of a particular word in a particular document is given by the word count. Similarly, we do have TF-IDF vector as features. So TF-IDF vector as features, we have term frequency inverse document vector as features, right? So let me explain it again. Count vectors as features. It's a matrix notation of the data set in which every row represents the documents from the corpus. So we'll be solving a problem using this. So once you solve, I think you will be familiar with this approach. So in the case of count vectors as features, you have a matrix-like representation in which every row represents a document of the corpus, and each column represents the term of the corpus, and each cell represents the frequency count of a particular term in a particular document, right? So once you are able to represent it in a matrix format, then we'll be using some Bayesian classifier or a support vector machine classifier for performing text classification, right? So can we solve a problem using text classification? So let me show you something. We'll try to see how to solve a problem using text classification.
Yes, sir. Shall I stop the slide presentation?
Yeah, yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Okay, sir. Now you can share your screen, sir. And we have 2 questions from participants, sir, regarding a PPT.
Right, madam.
Mr. Sendil Kumar has asked, we have so many clustering algorithms. Which one is best for text analysis?
Right. Right. So we do have a lot of clustering techniques like partitioning based clustering techniques. So whenever we work with some algorithms, what we say is that different algorithms are suitable for different data types, different types of repository, right? Maybe for clustering legal documents, you may find some clustering techniques useful, whereas clustering maybe academic documents, you may find some other clustering documents useful. So it all depends on the type of the data set.
So the third icon is screen shares.
Right, madam. First I will right. So I would like to discuss this problem with the participants. So it's a problem about text classification or text categorization. So like text classification, we classify a document as document belonging to CSE department, computer science engineering, IT department, electrical engineering, and so on. Similarly, here the example is like classifying article into sports, medical, and technology, right? So text categorization is the grouping of documents into fixed number of predefined classes, right? So once a document reaches your institution, the director or the principal, he has to classify into either to a civil department or into a electrical department or a computer science department based on the keywords present in the document, right? That can be done using text classification. In email classification, email we can identify a mail as a spam or a ham using text classification algorithms, right? So based on the keywords that are present in the document, you will be able to classify it as a spam or a ham, right? So we'll try to look into this problem. So basically supervised learning for classification training, what we do is that we will be using feature extractor to transform each input value to a feature set, right? We'll be representing the information input data in the form of a feature set. So this feature set captures the basic information about each input that should be used to categorize it. Like a pair of feature sets and labels are feed into the machine learning algorithm to predict the model. So once you create your model, so for this set of keywords, this is going to be the class label. Given an unknown data set, it should be able to predict the class label. So this is the pictorial representation of the scheme. So given a document, you are going to extract the features, and features with the corresponding labels are used for training the system. So once a system is being constructed, right? Once a system is being constructed, given an unknown sample, it should be able to predict that class label. So let me directly go into the problem, right? So these are the steps in text classification: reading data from file. I'm going to split the data into two parts: training data set and test data set. In the data pre-processing, what we do is that we convert all the characters into lowercase. We convert it into plain text document. We remove punctuation marks, digits from the, and redundant words from the document, right? Remove extra white spaces. Now we are going to create a term document matrix. So this is what I discussed in the presentation. So what do you mean by a term document matrix? It is a matrix where we represent documents as rows. Each and every document in the corpus is represented as a row, and each and every term is represented as a column vector. And the term document matrix, it gives the number of times a particular term has appeared in a document. Once you represent the information in a term document matrix format using some Bayesian classifier or any classification algorithm, you'll be able to classify it. So let me show you an example for a term document matrix. Like so this is an example for a term document matrix. Here the rows represents the documents in the corpus, and the terms they represent, and the columns they represents the terms. So what does it mean? The document D1. So D1 is a document. It contains 4 terms of T2, 10 terms of T3, 8 terms of T4, 5 terms of T6, and 0 terms of T7, right? So the term T1, T5, and T7 are not present in the document D1, whereas the term T2 occurs 4 times in the document, T3 occurs 10 times in the document, and so on. So this is how we represent a document term matrix, right? So based on this, we have a simple problem. So if you have, if you can note it down, you can note it down this problem. So you have a set of documents which is to be either classified as sports or informatics. So you have 2 domains. A document can be classified into a sports document or informatics document based on the keywords. So basically we have a training data set contains 11 documents. We would like to estimate an A-based classifier using the Bernoulli's document model to classify unlabeled document as sports or informatics, right? So these are the keywords that are present in the document. So the keywords are going to be goal, tutor, variance, speed, drink, defense, performance, and field. So each document is represented by an 8-dimensional binary vector. So basically this is going to be the training data set. So you can look into the training data set. You have totally 11 documents. So the rows represents documents. You have 6 documents related to sports and 5 documents related to informatics. So these documents are labeled. The first 6 documents are labeled as documents related to sports, and last 5 documents are labeled as documents related to informatics. Right. So we have a vector representation of these features. So what do you mean by 1, 0, 0? This one indicates that the first one indicates that the term T1 is present in the document D1. The term T5 is present in the document D1. T6 is present, T7 is present, and T8 is present. So T5, T6, the word W1, W2, these are going to be the keywords, right? So totally have 11 documents, out of which 6 documents belong to the class sports and 5 documents belong to the class informatics. So given this data set, given this sample data, you need to predict the class label of this document, right? You have B1 equal to 1, this 100, 11101. So given this test document, I need to classify whether it belongs to the class sports or informatics, right? So do you want time to note the problem down? Hello?
Sir,
so participants, do you want to note it down, the problem?
Yes, sir. With the permission, I can even send the materials to them, sir. If
right, madam.
Okay, sir.
Right, madam. Then they need not note it down. They let them listen to it. Right.
Yes.
So the thing is that
session
you have okay, madam. So totally have 11 documents, out of which 6 documents belong to the class sports and 5 documents belong to the class informatics. So the rows represents the document ID in the corpus. So D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, and so on. So the rows represents the documents and the columns represents the terms or words. So we have represented the input in the form of a document matrix format, right? And given some input in the form of given some test data, you are expected to predict whether the class label is going to be sports or informatics. Now, right? So how will you calculate, how will you find a solution for this problem? So for the subdivision 1, we are expected to predict whether this document is going to be sports or informatics. So you are maybe familiar with the Bayesian classifier, right? Bayesian classifier, the posterior probability is computed based on is a posterior probability of a particular tuple to belong to a class is given by prior probability into conditional probability. So what is the prior probability in this case? So the prior probability for a particular document to be a sports document is going to be 6 by 11, right? So you have 6 documents out of 11 documents belonging to sports category, and similarly 5 documents out of 11 documents in the informatics category. So the prior probability from the training data set is that given a document to classify, the prior probability for sports is going to be 6 by 11, and the prior probability for the informatics document is going to be 5 by 11, right? So the calculation for prior probability is going to be simple. Now you are going to find the word count of the training data. So in the word count for the training data for sports, the word W1 occurs in 3 documents. So it's going to be 3 by 6, which is going to be 1 by 2. and where W2 occurs only in one document, so it's going to be 1 by 6, and where W3 occurs in two documents, so it's going to be 2 by 6, which is going to be 1 by 3. W4 occurs 3 documents, so it's going to be 3 by 6, it's going to be 1 by 2, right? So we are going to compute the likelihood probability or conditional probability. So the number of times the word occurs, W1 occurs in a document, is going to be 3 out of 6 documents. So the probability or the likelihood probability is given by 3 by 6, which is going to be 1 by 2. So WAD2, the WAD count in the training data set is going to be, the WAD2 occurs only one time in sports document, so the likelihood probability is given by 1 by 6. The WAD W3 occurs 2 times in the training document, so the likelihood probability is given by 2 by 6, which is going to be 1 by 3, and so on. So similarly, we are going to calculate the count, WAD count in the training data set, and likelihood probability for each and every WAD in sports and informatics document. So if you look into the WAD W1 in informatics document, so in informatics document, W1 has occurred only one time, so the likelihood probability for W1 in informatics document is going to be 1 by 5. The likelihood probability for WAD2 in informatics document is going to be 3 by 5. Again, it's going to be 3 by 5 for WAD3, and so on, right? So this way, see, 1 by 5, 3 by 5, 3 by 5. This way we are going to calculate the prior probability and likelihood probability. So once you have computed the prior probability and likelihood probability from the given data set, the posterior probability can be easily computed for the particular test document to classify the test vector. So this is the test data for which we are going to classify it as whether it belongs to the class sports or informatics, right? For the document to belong to the sports category, so what is going to be the prior probability? It's going to be 6 by 11 into, for one WAD1, what is going to be the WAD1, what is going to be the likelihood probability in sports? It's going to be 1 by 2. So 1 by 2, we are going to ignore the likelihood probability for the WADs W2 and W3. We are going to calculate the prior probability for W4, W5, W6. So W4, W5, and W6, it's going to be 1 by 2, 1 by 2, 2 by 3, right? So it's going to be 1 by 2, 1 by 2 into 2 by 3, right? So if the WAD is going to be 0, we are going to compute the probability value is given by 1 minus 1 by 6. So 1 minus 1 by 6 is going to be 5 by 6. Here it's going to be 1 minus 1 by 3 is going to be 2 by 3. Right? So we are going to compute the posterior probability as a product of prior probability into conditional probability or likelihood probability. So this is going to be the posterior probability. So the posterior probability that the document belongs to sports is going to be 5.6 into 10 power minus 3. Hope, I think this will be easy for you to understand, right? So what is the prior probability for a document to be an informatics document? It's going to be 5 by 11, right? The training data set, 5 out of 11 documents belong to the class informatics. So the prior probability is going to be 5 by 11. And now you are going to calculate the likelihood probability for the first WAD W1. So WAD W1, the prior probability is going to be 1 by 5. How do I calculate the prior probability for W2 and W3 in informatics document? So 1 minus 3 by 5 is going to be 2 by 5. 1 minus 3 by 5 is going to be 2 by 5, right? Since the vector for WAD2 and WAD3 corresponds to 0, what we do is that we compute the inverse of this probability value. So it's going to be 1 minus 3 by 5 is going to be 2 by 5, and 1 minus 3 by 5 is going to be 2 by 5. Whereas for WAD 4 and WAD 4, 5, and 6, it's going to be 1 by 5, 1 by 5, and 1 by 5. 1 by 5, 1 by 5, 1 by 5. And WAD 7 is going to be, again, you are going to find the likelihood probability, which is going to be 1 minus 3 by 5, which is going to be 2 by 5 and 1 by 5, right? So now you have computed the probability of the occurrence of a particular vector. So the probability for the occurrence of a particular document is going to be high for sports. So we are going to classify this document as the document may belong to the category sports, right? So the things are very simple. What we have done is that we have computed the prior probability of the occurrence of a particular document, and we have computed the posterior probability or likelihood. Like we have computed the likelihood probability of the occurrence of a particular word in a document, and using the product of the prior probability and likelihood probability, we have computed the posterior probability for the particular document, right? So this is how we do text classification for the document. So since the posterior probability of the occurrence of a document is going to be greater for sports, we classify into sports document. So we'll be working with a vector representation. So in this case, we have a document term matrix where the rows represents the document, individual documents, and the columns represents the term, and the cell values indicates the number of times a particular term has occurred in a document. And once you have this format, you are going to compute the prior probability, which is going to be 6 by 11. 6 out of 11 documents belong to the class sports, and 5 out of 11 documents belongs to the class informatics based on the training data set. Then you calculate the word count in the training data set, and based on the word count, you are going to compute the word likelihood probability. So sports W1 occurs 3 times. So 3 by 6 is going to be 1 by 2. In sports document, the W2 occurs 1 times. So it's going to be 1 by 6 and so on. So you are going to estimate the likelihood probability for sports document. And similarly, you are going to estimate the likelihood probability for the informatics document. So once you compute the prior probability and the likelihood probability, posterior probability is going to be the product of prior probability into likelihood probability. So this is going to be the unseen data or data for which we are expected to predict the class label. So B1 is a vector which contains some values for which we are going to predict the class label, right? So we are going to compute the posterior probability as a product of prior probability into likelihood probability, and based on that we are going to classify a document into 2 classes, either of the 2 classes based on the highest likelihood of a particular event. So here the highest value is going to be for sports, so we classify it as for sports document. So I have extended the same thing for the next problem also, right? This document will be shared to the participants and can look into it, and once you look into it, I think you can easily follow it, the same thing. So you have another test document B2, you have a vector representation for which you are expected to predict the class label. So 6 by 11 is going to be the prior probability for the document to belong to sports category, and 5 by 11 is going to be again the prior probability for a particular document to belongs to informatics category based on the training data. Now it's going to be 0, right? 0 for word W1 in sports. So it corresponds to 1 minus 1 by 2, which is going to be 1 by 2. So we'll be computing the product of prior probability and prior probability and likelihood probability, and we compute the computation. We compute the posterior probability, and we classify it as a document belonging to sports or informatics, right? So this is how text classification algorithm works, right? Hope you can follow this, right? Do you have any doubts in this problem? So participants, do you have any doubts?
Sir?
Just I want to clarify that if someone has any clarifications.
Yes, sir. Mr. Tirumurthy sir has asked, can you please mention the words as example used to classify the documents? The whole document reduced to 8 words.
Right, a document may have a number of words. For simplicity, for understanding the problem, I have taken only 8 words. So if you look into your document, basically it may have, whenever you represent it in a term document matrix, you can have a number of documents, and similarly you can have a number of words. In this case, we have taken, for example, only few words. So some words are common to both sports as well as informatics. Like goal is a common word for both. Goal can be for sports also, informatics also. Like some projects, they do have some goals or objectives. Similarly, tutor. So some words are common to both sports and informatics, right? So in this case, we have restricted the number of words to 8 for better understanding of the problem, right? So just we have a matrix like representation of the data, where the rows represents the documents and columns represents the words or words or terms, and this cell value represents the count of each and every term in the document. For this document, we have computed the prior probability and posterior probability. We have calculated the prior probability and likelihood probability, by which we have calculated the posterior probability for a particular test document to be sports or informatics, right? So based on the probability of the occurrence of an event, the Bayesian classifier assigns a class label to a particular document. So in the case of the section 1, the probability for the document to be sports is going to be greater than the probability for the document to be informatics. So we assigned the document as it belongs to the class label sports. So as the user has raised a question, it may have a number of words. A document may have a number of words. For simplicity and better understanding, we have considered 11 documents, out of which 6 belongs to sports and 5 belong to the category informatics. And we have restricted the number of words to.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Sambamurthy has asked how to overcome zero prior probabilities.
Right. Zero prior probability can be overcome by making some mild changes to the formula. Right. Bayesian classifier itself, you can I do have some other example for that. Maybe I will be sharing the example over a period of time. Right.
Okay.
So, okay, madam.
And last question, sir. Mr. Sendil Kumar has asked, what is the maximum number of words in the matrix?
That's it. A matrix can have a number of words. In this example, for simplicity or for better understanding the problem, for understanding how text classification works, for a small data set, we have taken it on only 8 words. But it can be the size can be like you can have a number of words in the particular column. So you can have a number of, you can have m into n matrix. So you can have a number of documents and you can have a number of words in the columns.
Yes, sir. That's all, sir. No more questions. Hello, sir.
All right, madam.
Yes, sir.
Let me share the presentation now.
Sure, sir. The PPT, sir?
Yeah, I will share it, madam.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay.
Right. Can you see the topic feature engineering using TF-IDF vector?
No, sir. We couldn't see anything. Can you press the third icon?
Yeah.
Yes.
right? Is it visible? Is it visible, madam?
No, sir. Actually, when you click on that icon, you could see three options, and then press entire screen and click
Right.
on that image and then share, sir. Or shall I share, sir, from my end?
Let me try it, madam.
Okay, sir.
Is it visible, madam?
No, sir.
Okay, madam. Then you can share it maybe from your.
Can you see the screen now,
Yes.
sir?
Yes,
As
madam, it's available. Right. Right. So we have seen a problem with count vectors as features, a term document matrix, where we have count vector as features. So nowadays we have TF-ID of vector as features. So TF-ID of score is it's a new method for representing a feature vector. It represents the relative importance of a term in the document. So in a TF-ID of score is calculated using this formula. TF, term frequency, denotes the number of times a term T appears in the document divided by total number of terms in the document, and inverse document frequency is given by the logarithm or log base E of total number of documents divided by the number of documents with term T in it. So instead of the term score, document term score, we are going to use TF-ID of score as a feature vector. So it represents the relative importance of the term in the document and the entire corpus, right? So again, for this, I have a simple problem with me. So we have three documents: document D1, document D2, and document D3. And Q is a query document. The query document contains the gold, silver, truck. And the document D1, the content is like a shipment of gold damaged in a fire. Document D2, the contents are going to be delivery of silver arrived in a silver truck. Document D3, shipment of gold arrived in a truck. So given a query document Q, I need to identify the similar documents using the query document among the three documents. So I need to rank the three documents, document D1, D2, and D3, based on the similarity using a TF-ID of matrix and cosine similarity measure, right? Cosine similarity measure can be used to identify the similarity between the documents. So we say that two documents are going to be similar if the cosine similarity score is going to be high. So cosine values, it can be between 0 to 1. So if it is going to be nearby 1 or something, we say that both the documents are going to be similar. So this problem will be representing each and every term as a TF-ID of vector format, and we'll be using this cosine similarity formula. So cosine similarity analysis between the query document and the document D1 is going to be given by product of query vector into document vector. So it's going to be a product of query vector into document vector divided by square root of query vector into document D1 vector, right? So it's going to be the product of the vectors divided by the magnitude of the vectors. Product of the query vector into document D1 vector divided by magnitude of the query vector into magnitude of the document D1 vector. So the highest score bit is for the value is going to be 0.8246 between the query vector and document D2 vector. So we say that this document is going to have more similar to the query document. So the problem is to find, given a query document, you are expected to find a similar document to that of your query document. So we'll see how to represent it in the form of a TF-IDF matrix. So we are going to tokenize the particular text repository. So we get individual tokens. I have arranged all the tokens in ascending order, right? And in the case of A, the keyword A is not present in the query document, whereas it is present in all the documents D1, D2, and D3. So it's represented by 1. So DF is going to be document frequency. So it's present in all the 3 documents. So the document frequency is going to be 3. So total number of documents, capital D divided by document frequency is going to be 3 by 3 is going to be 1. So log base E of D by DF is going to be 0. So log of 1 is going to be 0. And so 0 into 1 is going to be 0, 0 into 1 is going to be 0, and 0 into 1 is going to be 0. So this is how we represent this information. So let us take this term as an example, arrived. So arrived is not present in the query document. In the document D1 also it's missing, right? So it's missing in document D1, and it's present only in document D2 and D3. So only two out of 3 documents it's present, right? So the total number of documents, capital D, is going to be 3, and the keyword arrived is present only in 2 documents. So log 3 by 2 is going to be 1.5. Log of D by DF is going to be, so log of D by DF is going to be 0.1761. So log of 1.5 is going to be 0.1761. So 0.1761, we are going to multiply for D2 and D3 value, we get some value, right? So this is going to be the TF-IDF value for the particular term. For A, corresponding to D1, D2, D3, it's going to be 0. Arrived keyword for D1 is going to be 0. For query document, it's going to be 0. For the document D2, it's going to be 0.1761, and for document D3, it's going to be 0.1761. So once you are going to represent this information in the form of an TF-IDF score format, so what we do is that you'll be able to, right? So you'll be able to find the magnitude of the query vector, find the magnitude of the D1 vector, and so on, right? So we have find the magnitude of the D1 vector. So D1 vector, it's going to be 0.7192. Similarly, we have find the magnitude for D2 vector, D3 vector. So let me show how to find the magnitude for D1 vector. So basically, you have 4. So magnitude for D1 vector is going to be square root of summation of 0.4771 whole square plus 0.4771 whole square plus 0.1761 whole square plus 0.1761 whole square, right? So you are going to find the magnitude of the vector D1. Similarly, you are going to find the magnitude of vector D2, D3, and query vector. And then next is going to be the cosine formula is going to be the similarity between 2 documents is calculated as the similarity between 2 documents, query vector and D1 vector, is going to be the product of query vector into D1 vector, product of these 2 vectors divided by magnitude of query document divided by magnitude of D1 document, right? So this is the formula for calculating the cosine similarity. So using this cosine similarity formula, you can identify the documents that are similar to the query document, right? So this is an example for information extraction using TF-IDF format. Again, hope you can follow this, right? So it's quite a simple approach. Only thing you need to know only this formula TF, how to calculate TF score and how to calculate IDF score. So term frequency formula is going to be the number of times a term T occurs in a document divided by total number of terms in the document, and IDF is going to be log base E of total number of documents divided by total number of documents with term T in it. So the DF, this is going to be log base, this is going to be how we calculate the IDF formula. So D by DF is going to be some value, log of D by DF is going to be IDF. So once you have the IDF value, and we'll be able to find this TF into IDF, we get a score. So it can be used for finding similarity analysis, right? So given a query document, you will be able to find out similar documents similar to that of a query document using a cosine similarity approach, right? So in the case of TF IDF as vectors, you can have a word level TF IDF score for each tab in different documents. You can also combine n-grams. So you have bigram, trigram. So n-gram or the combination of n terms together, the matrix representing the TF IDF score for n-grams. You can also go for character level TF IDF representation, right? So the other feature extraction techniques are going to be word embeddings. So nowadays we do have different embedding techniques like GLOW, fast text, and word to vector. So they follow the following 4 essential steps. We are going to load pre-trained word embeddings. So some pre-trained word embeddings like word to vector, doc to vector are present. You are going to create a tokenizer object. You are going to transform
Sir, is my voice audible, sir?
All right, madam.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Can you see the screen, sir? Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, madam.
Can you see the screen, sir?
Not yet, madam.
Yes, sir. I've shared my screen.
Right, madam. Right, madam. It's visible.
Yes, sir.
Right. So the other techniques for feature extractions are like word to vector, GLOW, and once you do feature extraction, it's not visible, madam.
Sir?
It's not visible.
You cannot see the screen, sir?
Right, madam. Right, madam. It's not visible.
Sir, can you see it, sir?
Madam, can I share it? It's not visible to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's your wish, sir. I will stop the presentation. You can use the third icon.
Right, madam.
Screen share. Entire image, you click on it, sir.
Is it visible, madam?
No, sir. So when you click on the screen share, just choose entire screen, and below that you can see one image, and click on that image and then share, sir.
Yes, screen. visible, madam?
Uh, no, sir. Actually, black screen only is seen on my side. Participants, can you comment whether you can see the screen from sir's side? Sir, the third icon after clicking, what you're getting, sir?
Madam, entire screen only, madam. I have chosen the entire screen option only. Your entire screen.
Below that one image is seen, no, sir. That click on that image and then share, sir. Click on that image and then share, sir.
Right, madam.
Yes.
It's loading.
No, it is. No, sir, it is not coming. Sir, can you try it once, sir? Otherwise,
Right, madam.
I will
Otherwise,
try from my side. You try once, sir. Otherwise, I will share from my side.
it's not visible, right, madam?
Yes, sir. We could see
Then,
only black.
then you can share it, madam.
Yes, sir. Can you see the screen on your side, sir?
No, madam.
Feature engineering similarity analysis screen is seen.
Oh, it's not visible to me. Try it.
You cannot see, sir?
Right. I cannot see it.
The participants can see, sir, but from your end, whether you can see, sir?
Right, madam. I do have only few slides. Let me go through it and right. So feature engineering, we can use WAD embedding, right? So you can go to that slide, madam. Feature engineering, we can go for WAD embedding. We can use GLOW, WAD vector 2.3, 19, madam. Slide number 19.
Sir, I will do one thing, sir. Shall I share the screen from my side? Whether it is visible to you, just check down, sir. The last reply. I will share from my end.
Right, madam.
One second. Can you see now, sir? My desktop.
So I can see only the caption CIT Chennai.
Yes, sir. I'm opening the PowerPoint slide now. Is that visible now, sir, from your side?
No, madam. I don't know why I'm not getting it.
Is that visible, sir, from your end?
No, madam.
Okay, sir.
I don't know why it's not. Right, madam. Let me conclude it. I think anyway, I have only few more topics to say. Hello.
Yes, sir. One second.
Right. Now it's visible, madam.
Yes, sir. Super.
Right. So nowadays we do go for WAD embeddings like GLOW, WAD to vector, FAST to text, and so on. Here they have some loaded. We need to load a pre-trained WAD embeddings. We need to create a tokenizer object. We need to transform text documents to a sequence of tokens and pad them so that all the terms are of equal in size. We create a mapping of token to their respective embeddings. So we can convert it into WAD to vector format or GLOW and so on. Right. So you can also go for NLP based features like noun count, verb count, adjective count. So the type and number of features that are extracted from your document, it depends on your particular repository. So based on accuracy, you can go for different feature extraction techniques to improve the accuracy. Right. So once you do feature extraction, the last step will be classification. So as I said, we can use some basic classifiers like Bayesian classifier, or we can go for ensemble based classifier, right, where we are going to combine multiple classifiers to improve the accuracy. So in the case of bagging, instead of a single decision tree, we can go for a random forest like a classification technique where multiple models are used to predict the class label, and we are going to combine the results from multiple models using averaging, weighted averaging, majority voting, and so on to predict the result of the particular. We are going to combine the results from multiple models to finally predict the result, right? So for model building and for classification, we have this models: naive Bayesian classifier, support vector machines, bagging and boosting, and so on. So in the case of boosting, it's going to be we are going to combine multiple weak learners. So initially, all the records will be assigned same weightage. So if it is properly classified, we'll decrease the weight of the record, and if it is incorrectly classified, we increase the weight of the record so that it's properly classified, right? So I hope let me complete with this. So we have discussed about text classification, classifying a document into sports or informatics document based on a Bayesian classifier, right? So you know the different feature engineering approaches. You know the simple TAM document matrix, how to represent the information in the form of an TF TAM document TAM matrix, TF-IDF format, and how to do some simple classification for a particular text document, right? So you also know how to work with information extraction. You know how to represent the information document in the form of an TF-IDF matrix, and finally how to do some similarity analysis using cosine similarity and so on, right? That's it. So that's it from me. So I have shared the presentation and materials to the organizers. You will get it from them, and I thank you for your patience listening. Thank you.
So thank you, sir. On behalf of Chennai Institute, we thank you for spending your valuable time, and definitely I'll share the PPT and the Word document, that problem. And we have one question from Mr. Tirumurthy, sir. Any application of text analytics in manufacturing sector? Process plans, and can text analytics be used to generate alarm in case of accidents?
Right, text analytics for manufacturing sector, right? In NIT Trichy, we have a student, like he has completed a PhD from BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited. So he has text document representation for industrial documents. So knowledge representation of industrial documents using ontology approach. He has done some research. So basically to represent the documents in some ontology based approach, so that it is easy for people to query or retrieve the information from the text documents. So here some IEEE journal, how to represent industrial text documents using an ontology based approach. And his name is Rajbabu Kumarvel. You can refer to his paper.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And we
right,
have one more question,
Thank you.
sir.
Okay.
Can you suggest some web-based resources to learn these text analytics? If possible, you just mail me, sir. I will add that also to the content. Web-based resources. Yes, sir. To learn
right. Many courses. Many courses are available in text mining, right? I think many courses are available free in YouTube also for text mining. You can have a full course on text analytics, the different techniques in text analytics from YouTube courses from some university professors. Possibly I will mail it to your coordinator, and she may pass the information back to you.
Sure, sir. And last question, sir. Is it possible to analyze the text if it contains image?
Yeah, we do. People are also working in multimodal data. So multimodal means not only a single mode of data, it should also contain text, images, videos, and so on. But the level of complexity or the algorithms, right? So once you combine multiple modes of data, the accuracy, yeah, it tends to decrease. So, but a lot of even like normal sentiment analysis, we are going to come. We are also working on both images as well as text to get better insight into that particular things. So things are happening. Only thing, the accuracy is less compared to conventional techniques. When you go for a normal text analytics, you have higher accuracy. When we go for some multimodal analysis, right, you do get some good results, but accuracy is not good as a single domain.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, madam.
Hope to connect you in future also, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Bye, madam.
Thank you, participants. And I'll share the attendance link now, and I will mail to you also, and I will send through WhatsApp a group. So you can just mark the attendance till 6 p.m. today, because many of the participants are requesting, since they are working from home, so they couldn't mark the attendance. So I will just open it up to 6 p.m. And tomorrow we'll post along with the attendance form after 4 p.m. we'll post the assignment link, that is quiz type assignment link based on all the sessions what we had so far. And we'll also send a form for verifying your details for certificate publishing. Okay, so just you have to enter the necessary details which are going to be printed in the certificate. So just check and ensure twice before filling up the details in that verification form. So tomorrow we will send along with the assignment quiz. So thank you, participants, and we'll meet tomorrow. And tomorrow will be the session on machine learning, that is natural language processing using machine learning technique, and you'll have a hands-on session on Orange tool and RapidMiner tool. So morning and afternoon session are both going to be handled by Dr. Pratyush Banerjee from TA Pi Management Institute. So hope you'll enjoy it tomorrow with a hands-on demo. So we'll meet tomorrow by 10 a.m. in the morning session. Thank you.